My name's David Avitia. I'm a catcher, and you're watching the Birds Broadcast Network.
5 of the first 7 Orleans Firebirds games have not been here, but 4 of the next 5 are, and it feels absolutely fantastic. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bird's Eye View here, part of the Birds Broadcast Network. This guy is Alec Hendon. I'm Scotty Gange. We've got a fantastic matchup, YD Orleans tonight. But first off, Alec, let's talk about the 4-0 win from last night.
Absolutely. The third shutout of the season for the Firebirds. Adam Seminaire started, went 3 2/3, was fantastic. Andrew Abbott threw 3 innings on his own to do a good job redeeming himself from a bad outing to begin his season. And overall, you can't really complain when you throw a shutout and you score enough runs to win. So it was obviously a very good night for the Firebirds as they're back home looking to make a winning streak as we get going here.
The 4-0 win over Hyannis was caught by none other than David Avitia, the star of last night. He was the Birds baller of the game. We're going to have that interview in just a little bit, and he's going to be sitting right here in not too long. But let's start off with pitching coach Matt Troop. He had a lot to say about David. Check it out.
The shutout's got to go to David Avitia behind the plate. I mean, that's the second shutout that he's caught. The things he does with that glove, I've been around baseball for a very long time, but at the college ranks for the past 8 years, there's no doubt in my mind he's the best catcher I've seen. And I've seen quite a bit, and I'm awestruck seeing what he does with pitches low in the zone. It's amazing. He makes it look like it's right down the middle. So, when you're on that mound and you have a catcher like that, you have about all the confidence you can possibly have in the world.
So obviously, David Avitia, what a performance from him last night, and Troop said it all.
Absolutely. He did a great job catching all the starters. He's done a tremendous job throughout the season, and he got his first hit of the season. I know the bat's been a little slow to come around, but he got a knock. He also drove in a run, so it was obviously a very good day for David. And I think when you talked to him after the game, he just said how happy he was to contribute offensively because everybody on this team knows how much he does for them defensively behind the plate.
Yeah, the bats this year have been so kind of just inconsistent. I think that was the theme yesterday as well. They've been so great one day and so not so great the other day, but yesterday they got 4 runs and it seemed like things were clicking.
Absolutely, but I will say that they do think they have some more room to improve. I talked to Jordan Lawler after the game. He mentioned how they left 12 runners on base and how that is not okay. So even though they did win 4-0, and it always never felt like they were in any doubt of losing the game, they definitely could have won bigger, and I think that's something that the offense will look to do because they got the 3 runs pretty early in the 3rd inning or 4th inning, I forget whichever. It was pretty early in the game where they got the lead comfortably, but they had other opportunities. I think they had 2 more innings where they stranded the bases loaded, and that usually will not get it done along the rest of the way, especially when better pitching comes to start arriving on the Cape. And the weather starts to get a little warmer here, Scott.
Yeah, it's got to get a little warmer. And speaking of the hitting, Max Troiani, he's been the face of the offensive unit so far this year, and it's been pretty consistent with how he's been playing. He started the season, the first 3 games, he had the 2nd best batting average in the entire Cape League, and then he goes 0 for 9, and then he comes back, gets 2 hits, 2 RBIs, and then another RBI in those both games against Bourne. Plays a great game last night, 3 hits, and I talked to him after the game kind of on how the heck he can balance one way or the other. Let's see what he had to say about it.
When things aren't going so great, you got to change your approach. Pick out a single pitch in a single spot, and you hit the ball hard, and you keep moving from there.
Are you still learning how to do that?
Still learning. You're always going to be a student of the game, so it's just a matter of how often you hit well versus how often you hit poorly. So I'm just happy it ended up well tonight.
From day 1 to day 8 that we're on right now, what have you learned about Max Troiani as a baseball player?
That it takes a lot of mental toughness. And for me specifically, I learned that I need to prepare my mind as much as I need to prepare my body.
So you heard it there from Troiani, but we're going to talk about YD here. 8-2 loss last week in the 2nd game of the season. Things were just looking so out of whack for Orleans last week, but now they're home and playing YD here. Is that going to change things, Alec?
I think they'll definitely have more to play for playing at home. They haven't played a home game in a little while, and the way they were beat 8-2, they just couldn't get much going, even though at Red Wilson Field it's an offensive park, and they're pitching for the first time all season, and pretty much the only time all season, had a rough night. They gave up some cheap homers. They kind of threw the ball around a little bit, and I think that's just a game that they want to forget because YD, they have won 6 straight games dating back to last season against the Firebirds, so I think this one will mean a little more tonight here at Eldredge Park.
Before we go into YD, we've got to put the official bookend onto last night. Here's David Avitia's Birds Baller of the Game post-game interview from last night. And David, all season long, the talk has been how great your defense has been, but tonight it was the offensive side. How does that feel?
It feels good to finally break out and get my first hit. So
You got your first hit. You got 2 RBIs tonight. You were on base pretty much every time you went out there. You were just hot. Was it something that clicked, or was it just a great night to be a baseball player?
Well, I've been working in the cage, getting some extra swings in, and finally paid off today. So it feels good to seeing the ball better. feels good to finally go out and get a hit.
It was fun to see. It was fun to watch you. But let's go back to defense because that's really the story of you. 4 pitchers tonight and a shutout game. It seems like every time you're out there, the pitchers are just a little more confident and a little more just easy. Is that something that you do, or do you think that's just them?
It's mainly them. These pitchers, all these pitchers out here are really good, and they all hit their spots. And I try to do my best to call pitches and present the pitches as best as I can. And like I said, all these pitchers are amazing out here, so it's really fun catching them.
It's fun for me to ask you that because I've asked every single pitcher that we've had for the Birds Baller of the game, and the answer is, David Avitia, man. He just makes me, I like him. He's a great catcher. He makes me feel comfortable. And for you, I mean, it's such a short time in finding a way to connection with them. But what have you kind of done personally to find a way to connect with these guys?
It's talking to them during BP, catching flat grounds and pens and stuff like that. It's mainly just talking to them and asking them what they like, what they don't like, how they like to run their game. So it's pretty much just that.
It's fun to watch, David. Congratulations. The Birds Baller of the game, Mr. David Avitia. Thanks for the time and great game tonight, man.
My name is Donovan Benoit. I'm a right-handed pitcher, and a fun fact about me is I lived in 5 different states and 8 different cities.
Hi, my name is Zach Akoska. I play outfield, and you're watching the Birds Broadcast Network.
Trevor Johnson, I play outfield, and a fun fact about me is that I'm terrified of lobsters.
My name is AJ Lewis. I'm a utility player for the Orleans Firebirds, and you're watching the Birds Broadcast Network.
So you just heard it. He was somewhere else, and now he's right here. David Avitia, the catcher, who is a well-deserved off day today. First off, thanks for coming and hanging out.
Yes, sir. No problem.
It's fun, huh? We're in front of the camera. It's kind of a cool deal. Yeah. You're pretty good at it from last night, huh?
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's talk about you for a second here. You've been the catcher here for the Firebirds for most games when you're not getting the off day like today. You've caught a lot of guys, and you said last night when I asked you, how is it to get connected with these guys? You said it's pretty easy. It just takes a little more effort and off the field type of stuff working out with them. How has that experience been for you so far?
It's been awesome because all these guys, like I said last night, they're so good and they know what they're doing and they know what they want to do. So it just makes my life easier in like pitch calling and stuff like that. So.
Dive into that for me. How do you really is every guy different, or do you just kind of have a little system? Is there a secret that you have in connecting with these guys?
Well, I would say everybody's different. Everybody's some people are more talkative, some people are not. It's kind of just asking questions and getting to know them. Like me, myself, I would say I'm not very talkative, but I try to be just because I don't know these guys as much and just trying to get to know them.
Takes a little more effort than if you were going to school with them, you mean?
Yeah.
So something fun last night when I came up to you and said, David, you want to be on the post-game? Do you have time for a post-game interview? Never before has a team applauded when I asked somebody, but when I asked you, there was a round of applause for you.
Yeah,
I think you're the most well-liked guy on the team.
Oh, well, I don't know about that, but I would hope these guys like me. I feel like I've been pretty good so far, and they all know I've been trying to get that hit, so it's been a rough ride for me hitting at the plate.
Yeah.
And all these guys I feel like they're supporting me in that. So
how do you feel today after that it was kind of a cloud over you this entire season? You got the first hit of the season. It's out of the way. Is it just kind of a whole breath of relief today?
Yeah, it's kind of breath of relief getting my first hit. Now I just want to go out and get some more hits. So.
Well, you're gonna hang out in the dugout tonight. When you're not playing the game, are you gonna be watching intently at something, or are you kind of just relaxing today?
Well, I'll be watching intently for sure, just because I don't have all the signs yet from like our third base coach and stuff. So I try to get mental reps and dry reps, and that's pretty much what I'll try to be doing today for the most part.
Coming from Grand Canyon University, for the most part, the talent out here is probably far greater than what you're playing in the general games during the season. How has that been for you in catching up to the speed of the game?
Well, for sure it's been a little bit of struggle. Our conference doesn't see arms like this for the most part, but regular season I would say we play a pretty good teams. So it's been a struggle for me since we ended with conference and then getting here and everybody's throwing 90 plus and just nasty sliders and changeups. So.
Yeah, and I know you guys went pretty far in the season too. You made it far into playoffs. How has that been for you? Just kind of been catching a lot of games during the season. You go to playoffs and then you come quickly here to the Cape.
Well, it's been fun overall. Just never stopping playing. It was tough for us with the Canyon because we lost in the championship, but it's also a new year next year, so we have another chance.
I know you've been very busy here at the field. You talk about getting closer to all these pitchers, but when you're not here, what does David Avitia do for fun?
Well, for the most part, I just stay at home, watch some Netflix, go to the gym, and hang out with my host mom, Nancy. So.
How's Nancy treating you?
Nancy's a very nice lady. She's always around the house, always talking to me. She cooks dinner. It's a great experience for me.
And what's the Netflix show of choice for you?
Right now I'm watching Breaking Bad. So,
oh, you are?
Yeah,
okay, I'm not going to give it away.
It.
It's fantastic.
I hope so.
I noticed maybe about an hour ago you were kind of just swinging to yourself. In terms of visualization, is that something you try hard to do?
Yeah, I try to just get my mindset right, try to get the feels. I try to just get my swing right, try to get it level, and I'm playing and through the zone a long time.
Where'd that start for you?
It was mainly started at Canyon with Coach Stankiewicz, really good coach, Coach Wallace too. They know I have fast hands, and they believe in me, and I love them for that. And it's just getting there and doing my reps and trying to get better at the plate. So
I know the coaches here talk about visualization and slowing things down. What have you learned from them specifically?
It's more like being slow at the plate, being confident at the plate, and if I rush myself, I tend to do a lot of bad things at the plate, like pull off and stuff like that. So for me, it's just telling myself slow down and doing my breathing and stuff like that. So
is that the biggest thing you're still trying to work on today?
Yeah, I would say so.
Are you having fun, David?
Yes, I'm having a lot of fun out here.
Great experience. A 10 out of 10 amount of fun.
Yeah.
That's fantastic, man. Thanks for the time.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on your first hit last night. A great game. The Birds baller of the game the day after. It's always fun for me to do this. So congratulations to you. And
yes,
you got lots of praise last night. It was fun to follow, David.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. A masterful performance for Wilcox in his first time on the bump. Can he do it again? Stay tuned here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Appreciate David Avitia coming on, as he has been fantastic behind the dish, but we bring on our broadcaster Josh White to talk about how great the Firebirds have been on the mound as well, Josh.
Yeah, they've absolutely been the best pitching team on the Cape so far, leading the Cape in ERA, whip, batting average against, even shutouts. 3 of the first 4 victories for Orleans have been of the shutout variety, and David Avitia has obviously played a big part in that.
Yeah, of course we say that. We're the guys wearing the Orleans polos. It's right under here, but it's true. I mean, it's the top 4 really pitching categories. Orleans leads the Cape League in, and we did the whole research and all that the other night, so it's pretty interesting to see.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. Orleans has led the Cape in ERA 7 of the 19 seasons. Kelly Nicholson has been part of the organization, potentially number 8 this year, so you can really see the pitching staff starting to come together. Still plenty of temp pitchers in this rotation out of the bullpen, but they've been lights out so far through the first chunk of games.
You saw Matt Troop talking about David Avitia earlier in this show, and he also talked about just how fun it's been and how easy it's been to be the pitching coach in his first season as a coach here in Orleans. But what do you think he's done for these guys?
Honestly, don't think too much, and he kind of told us that yesterday. I was joking with him after the game. I go, hey, they're going to have you back every summer if the pitching staff does this, and he goes, I just try and stay out of their way, let them do their thing, give some pointers here and there. I'm sure as the season moves on, we'll see some things progress with certain arms that are still here and maybe some new breaking balls here and there, but I don't think he tries and does all that much. Maybe gives them advice of what's it like pitching in the Cape Cod Baseball League or pitching on the highest stage. Matt Troop obviously pitched in the College World Series, won a national championship, so he knows all about kind of the mental side of things. Obviously had great success on the mound as well from a physical standpoint, so I'm sure he kind of talks more about that rather than saying, hey, let me try and mold a robot, if you will, and make Matt Troop Jr.
Matt Troop, the first one to take blame and the last one to take praise. It's very fun to have him in this program and on this organization. It's an extremely good time, but let's talk about tonight. Cole Wilcox, probably one of the strongest pitchers on this team, and he's going to be on the bump for Orleans.
Yeah, he might not only be one of the strongest pitchers on Orleans, he might be one of the strongest pitchers in the Cape Cod Baseball League and in the country. Big right-handed kid from the University of Georgia, 6'5", bumped his fastball up to 97 miles an hour his first time out. 4 shutout innings, just allowing 1 hit. He admitted, I didn't have my best command, and he still threw 4 scoreless. That's how good this kid is. He's a perfectionist, a Team USA invitee. This will probably be his last start before heading out there to try out in Cary, North Carolina. But he comes as highly touted as they are, and there's good reason. We saw it night 1. I'm sure we'll see it again night 2 here against YD.
Quick scouting report for YD. What are we expected to see tonight?
Another Team USA kid, funny enough. It's Trent Denholm, the right-hander from UC Irvine.
2 stars tonight.
2 stars. The stars of tomorrow shine tonight, as they like to say, and hopefully we'll see that here. Yeah, right? A nice little plug for the Cape Cod Baseball League. Oh, 100%. But, you're going to see 2 talented right-handers. Denholm doesn't throw as hard. He's not as tall of a kid, just 5'11", but this is the Big West pitcher of the year, and ERA under 2, 4 complete games at UC Irvine, just a tick under 100 innings. So his arms, maybe a little more deeper into his season. I don't think we might see him on the back end after Team USA come back out here to the Cape Cod Baseball League. He's not going to throw as hard, but I wouldn't be surprised if Scott Pickler maybe runs them a little deeper. This would be win number 500 for Scott Pickler.
Oh, yeah.
And we know Kelly Nicholson and Scott Pickler, they might not, Kelly doesn't dislike anyone, but he might not be his best friend.
Really?
Yeah, we don't need to talk about the numbers.
Well, we're going to get to the game here. We've got Wilcox and we've got YD here at Orleans. It's going to be an exciting matchup. Could it be win number 500 for Pickler, or is it going to be Orleans getting the early season rematch? That's here on the Birds Broadcast Network.